Yesterday, there was a letter which was widely circulated online. And that letter was written by the first Vice President of the Republic of Kenya, Mzee Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, to the first President of the Republic of Kenya, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. It was basically the resignation letter from Jaramogi Oginga Odinga to Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. And I'm sure you might have seen that letter yesterday. And just like I keep on saying on this platform, that in politics, nothing happens out of mere coincidence. And we must ask three tough questions. Who circulated that letter? That's the first question which you must ask. And I want to believe that that letter was circulated by the NIS. The other question, number two, which we must ask is what was the political objective of circulating that letter? That's another question we must ask. And number three is the timing. Why was it timed that this letter was going to be circulated when the president and his deputy are in problems? Why? So today I want us to look at the grand plan by Uhuru Kenyatta and his allies to force the deputy president William Samoei Ruto to resign. And that's why that letter was circulated. And if you're bumping on this video for the first time, I want you to just do one thing. Just take a second or two and hit the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, you get notified. Now, back to the main issue. We all know that from January, moving forward, President Uhuru Kenyatta is a changed man. And the president has changed the way he's operating with his deputy and his allies. And just to remind you that President Uhuru Kenyatta is still in Mombasa today. And his deputy has also gone to the coast, Taita Taveta to be precise, for a meeting with the Jubilee leaders from the coast. So that tells you that there's something between these two individuals. Because in an ordinary circumstance, if the president is in Mombasa, especially on official function, there was no way the deputy president would also be at Mombasa or at the coast planning another meeting. But is there any plan to force the deputy president, William Samoei Ruto, to resign? Is there such plan? I think there is a plan. And that's why the NIS circulated that letter yesterday. Let me read for you part of that letter if you didn't see it, but I am sure you saw it. The letter is saying, it's dated on 14th April 1966. Dear President, you have not given any consideration to me as your number two in state matters. I have a conscience, and this, in fact, does prick me when I earn public money but with no job to do. Remember, the allies of the deputy president have been complaining that the deputy president doesn't have job to do. And Kipchumba Murkomen has been very vocal on this. I'm going to play that clip of Murkomen. I consider this, the letter continues, I consider this a waste of public money. And I am worried lest the future generation questions my sincerity when they would learn that I allowed myself to hold a cynical, just a minute, post in the midst of poverty and misery in our country. Remember, currently in this country, poverty and misery is part and parcel of life. And this letter was also circulated. With this realization, I cannot continue to hold this position any longer, and I hereby tender my resignation. Yours, Odinga. So the circulation of that letter was designed to keep Kenyans talking. And indeed, Kenyans heaped praise on Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. And if you followed the conversation online, because yesterday it was trending on Twitter, you'll realize that most people were also challenging the Deputy President William Samoei Ruto to do the same because he's being frustrated. But who is frustrating William Ruto? In my view, it's President Uhuru Kenyatta and the system. And what's their end game? In my view, their end game is simple. They want to force the Deputy President William Ruto to resign. And I want to ask you a simple question, because I'm going to give you just shortly the details account on how they've been doing this. I wanted to ask you a simple question. Assuming Raila Odinga was the Deputy President under William Ruto, under President Uhuru Kenyatta, and undergoing the kind of frustration the DP is undergoing, do you think Raila Odinga would still be the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya? The answer to that is no. And many people have argued that the DP is probably following the footsteps of the former President Daniel Toroitich arap Moi. But remember, Moi managed because he prayed and the president died and he took over. Unless that will happen in Kenya, the Deputy President William Ruto and Moi's case are totally different. But again, others are also arguing that if Raila Odinga had humbled himself when he was working with Mwai Kibaki, probably he would have been the president. But I want to tell them that's not how the system operates. System doesn't look at loyalty. There are many factors which they consider. And now back to the issue of William Ruto being forced out of government. What are the strategies? What can really make us conclude that the DP is being frustrated? Number one, Executive Order number 1 of 2019. How many of you still remember that executive order? In January 2019, President Uhuru Kenyatta issued Executive Order number 1. And that executive order is what has changed the political landscape in this country completely. In that executive order, President Uhuru Kenyatta made Fred Okengo Matiang'i as the supervisor of all cabinet ministers in this country, or cabinet secretaries. And that move by President Uhuru Kenyatta effectively made Fred Matiang'i the Prime Minister of the Republic of Kenya. And by that time, the DP and his team were deeply involved in early campaigns, despite President Uhuru Kenyatta's warning. So what the president did, he took away the roles which ideally should have been played by the deputy president and handed those roles to Fred Okengo Matiang'i. Remember, Kipchumba Murkomen claimed the other day that President Uhuru Kenyatta has never allowed the deputy president to chair a cabinet meeting. even once. He claimed that the other day. And Kipchumba Murkomen also once explained that the DP doesn't have any roles. And that's why anatanga-tanga. And Kipchumba Murkomen, who is the legal advisor to the deputy president, also the other day complained that if these guys cannot respect the deputy president, how can people expect them to respect the prime minister? All those shows you that that executive order number 1 took away the roles of the DP. And what was the objective? The objective of that was simple: to provoke the deputy president and make him annoyed so that he could resign. But the deputy president has also refused to resign. But that's a grand plan to force him to resign. Just take away the roles, let him just be there without any portfolio, then he will be forced to resign. So I'm sure at some point the deputy president will be tired and might not accept this to continue. I want you to listen to Kipchumba Murkomen stating some of these things very clearly.
Kama amwezi kuheshimu ofisi ya deputy president ambaye alifanya president kuwa president kwa kuomba kura pamoja, kama hamna heshima na hiyo ofisi, kama hiyo ofisi mpaka saa hii haijapewa kazi, kwamba kazi yake ni hii na hii na hii, kama portfolio has not been created ya deputy president of the Republic of Kenya, mtawezaje kuheshimu a prime minister ambaye ni appointee ya president? Kama nyinyi mnaona kweli ni heri tukue na viti vingi kwa Kenya, tuanze kwanza kuheshimu ofisi ya naibu wa rais na tupatie kazi hiyo ofisi ya naibu wa rais, apewe defined responsibilities kwanza, kabla nyinyi hamjakuja kusema tuongeze viti vingine. Kwa sababu saa hizi naibu wa rais, ukiuliza mtu kazi ya naibu wa rais aswa ni nini na amepewa ofisi ya kufanya jukumu gani, kwa sababu kuna watu wengi wanasema William Ruto ameenda kufungua barabara, ameenda kufungua shule, ameenda kufanya mchango. Haya, mulitaka asifanye hiyo, ndio afanye nini? Yeah, tell us exactly what does he supposed to do? Those who are castigating the deputy president, that he has gone out there to open roads, to fundraise for churches, to open technical institutions, to fundraise for schools. Can you tell us what has the cabinet since 2013 determined as the functions of the deputy president? Once you answer that question, we will be able to answer why he is not able to do that job that has been given to him. Because vice president wa zamani walikuwa ni chairman ya cabinet subcommittees. Lakini tangu 2013, we've never had William Ruto amechair hata subcommittee ile ya anything kwa cabinet.
So that's number 1. Number 2 is that letter by Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. Who circulated that letter? Why was he circulating that letter? What objective was he intending to achieve? What about the timing? That letter was circulated to remind Kenyans that a deputy president can actually resign from office. And I want to believe that the people who circulated that letter circulated it either to prepare Kenyans of a possibility of the deputy president resigning because he's being frustrated, or that letter was intended to influence him to resign from office. Let's agree that after reading that letter, or when you are reading that letter, the name which comes to your mind, chances are that it's the name William Samoei Ruto. Because what happened in 1966 is still relevant today. So that letter was circulated by the NIS. And their motive was simple. NIS work in a very funny way, and that's one way they operate. Number 3, how these guys are still executing this is through the war on corruption. In this war on corruption in this country, one man has been the target and still is the target. And that man is none other than the Deputy President William Samoei Ruto. When the war on corruption began, Kenyans were very happy. And the war started with parastatals. But Kenyans realized late that most of the people who are being targeted were the allies of the Deputy President. Why were they doing that? To provoke him. He kept his cool. Then it moved to governors. His allies have been kicked out, including Mike Mbuvi Sonko, including the governor for Kiambu, Ferdinand Waititu, the former governor, including the former governor for Samburu, Moses Leland Kolol. These guys have been arrested and are home. Why? To provoke the DP and to send a message. So this war on corruption, if Kenyans are not careful, might end up targeting one man called William Ruto. I won't be surprised if one morning the Deputy President will be, I don't want to imagine, but I don't want to rule out the possibility of one day Kenyans waking up to a press conference by Nordin Aji, inviting the Deputy President William Samoei Ruto to his office to go and answer certain questions on corruption. So this war on corruption, in my view, is also intended to force the DP to resign. And just like I said earlier, if DP was Raila Odinga today, Raila Odinga would have resigned. Number 4 is insubordination. In this country, the constitution is very clear. We have President Uhuru Kenyatta as the Commander-in-Chief of the Republic of Kenya, as the head of state. We have the Deputy President William Ruto as the principal assistant. But is that the reality on the ground? The reality on the ground is that there are certain individuals in this country who are more powerful than the Deputy President. I can name them. Fred Matiang'i is powerful than the Deputy President. Raila Odinga today is more powerful than the Deputy President. Karanja Kibijo, who is just a mere officer, is more powerful than the Deputy President. What about the county commissioners? Where are they receiving their instructions from? So there's insubordination in this country to an extent that the Deputy President can attend an event and senior government officials are told not to attend that event also. Like chiefs and assistant chiefs, the DO, the county commissioners. Those are people who are supposed in an ideal situation to be answerable to the presidency, which includes the Deputy President. But they have the powers to fail to attend events organized by the DP, and there's nothing the DP can do. So they are doing this to annoy him, so that once he's annoyed, he can leave. And lastly is the referendum campaigns or the Building Bridges Initiative. If you read the report on the Building Bridges Initiative, initially the Deputy President was opposed to it, and these guys were saying because there was plan to introduce an executive prime minister. But that did not happen when the report when the report came out, and the Deputy President embraced it fully. But the system is now steering in that campaign because now at least Kenyans have accepted to discuss the possibility of a prime minister in the republic. So the referendum, in my view, is going to create an environment which is not going to be conducive for the deputy president. And if these guys will succeed in forcing him to oppose the referendum, it means the DP will gather the courage to resign from the government. And that these guys would have succeeded. I don't know what you think. But from where I am, I strongly believe that there are plans. There are plans in this country to force the Deputy President William Ruto to resign from office. Thank you guys. And if you're bumping on this video for the first time, I want you to just hit the subscribe button. And to the subscribers, I want to continue. Thank you guys. And just as usual, I want to ask you just one favor. Or is it bad to ask a single favor? I just want to ask you one favor. I want you to help me create interactions on this YouTube channel. And you can only do that by simple thing. Just hit the subscribe button if you're not a member yet. If you're a member, just click that thumbs up on this video. That's how I get interactions. Then for those who can, just drop your comment. Because if you drop your comment, I'm able to understand what people want, what people don't like. For example, you can either, if you like the video, just click thumbs up. If you hate the video, just give it a thumbs down so that I can know. Because sometimes I might be thinking, oh, I'm trying my best, but it's not what you guys want. So I can only know that by if you give a thumbs up or thumbs down. And the best thing is just to drop your comment on what you think about this video. Thank you guys, and may you have a good day.